G'day, Sonny Brown here. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Khabib's failed takedown attempts and see if we could notice any patterns that might help us piece together any strategies or techniques to work in defending them. The big caveat here is obviously going to be, it's easier said than done. We can look at the techniques, but pulling it off in a real fight is going to be a lot different. Khabib's strength is his wide breadth of techniques, from lower body takedowns to upper body takedowns to clinch to trips, and I think working with Daniel Cormier at AKA is really what's taken his takedown game to the next level. Also physically, he must be incredibly strong to pull these techniques off. He's been wrestling forever, and that's an inbuilt strength that you just can't replicate with a 6-week training camp. Either way, let's dive right in. First, I'll note that takedown defense begins with evasive footwork, staying on the outside of your opponent so they can't even get their hands on you. Conor McGregor's coach, Owen Roddy, has a good video explaining this in more detail if you're interested. If Khabib does get his hands on you, he looks for the right underhook. Once he gets the right underhook, that's where he's comfortable and begins to work his takedown game from. So to counter that, you want to frame his right shoulder. You can see Daryl Horcher was able to do it, and Edson Barboza and Michael Johnson, both able to escape Khabib's clinch by immediately framing and working their way out of his right underhook side, and never allowing Khabib to get chest to chest on them. If Khabib does get his right underhook established and achieves a chest to chest position, what should your next move be? Well, conventional wisdom says that you should then pummel in with your right arm to try and get an underhook on Khabib's left side. This would then leave you both with an overhook and an underhook, a 50-50 position where no man has the advantage. But with Khabib, this simply isn't the case. As you go to pummel in, he clamps down hard on your underhook, and he's either too strong or just has too much experience from this position, and going for that underhook is a guaranteed takedown. Instead of pummeling for the underhook, you'll need to be constantly hand fighting with Khabib's left hand, framing his left shoulder, or pushing off his left bicep. This prevents him from joining his hands together behind your back. All the while, you can constantly be looking to shift your hips and move out to Khabib's left side. Rafael dos Anjos used a collar tie on Khabib's left shoulder to prevent him from joining his hands together, while looking to switch his hips and exit with a knee. Edson Barboza weaved his overhook in to grab his own bicep to reinforce his frame, while also looking to switch his hips and exit. Pat Healy used a collar tie, again looking to switch his hips and exit out. And Kamal Chalaroos dropped his shoulder level and posted his forehead on Khabib's left shoulder to achieve the same outcome. Now where to from here? Well, if you watch my other video breaking down Khabib's successful takedown techniques, you'll know his pre-UFC career was spent primarily shooting single leg shots. This was until he met Gleison Tebow in the octagon, who he was unable to take down. After that fight, he moved to AKA, started training with DC, and worked his upper body takedowns into his game. But what we'd like to do is work him back into trying to finish those single leg shots against the cage. And Ben Askren has a strategy to do just that. When your opponents drop down for a double leg, you reach and peel their hand off and feed it to their other hand, forcing them to attack a single leg. Pat Healy used the same strategy against Khabib, feeding his hand across, forcing the single. Khabib's then unable to finish the takedown, comes up for an upper body takedown. Healy frames on Khabib's left shoulder and is able to create space. Here we'll see Rafael dos Anjos use the same technique. So it's important to talk about why the single leg's more difficult to finish in the cage. Well, obviously the single leg works by reducing 2 points of balance of your opponent down to 1. In the cage, an opponent is then able to actually use the cage to regain a second point of balance, leaning on it, resting on it, essentially using it as another leg. This can stop the single leg takedown. Otherwise, all your regular single leg takedown defenses will work, like limp legging, framing on the head, pushing on the shoulder, and they have worked in the past against Khabib. Basically, looking to feed that single leg and escape the single leg is going to be your best chance of defending any of Khabib's takedowns. and worst case, Khabib gets double underhooks on you, chances are you're going for a ride. But Ben Askren also has a strategy to deal with this, but it does involve turning your back on the opponent, but he does this to emphasize hand fighting, which is going to be crucial. And if we look at Abel Trujillo's fight, he didn't do any of this and instead was complaining most of the time. So Pat Healy was able to hand fight and break from Khabib's back control. So this is a viable option that at least gives you some strategy to work with. And if you are on the way down, as soon as you hit the mat, you better be looking to scramble to get back up on your feet. You don't want to let Khabib settle in and work his ground game. I have another video breaking that down if you'd like to check it out. Abel Trujillo was able to Granby roll out a couple of times, but eventually Khabib wised up and shut that down. That concludes our little examination into Khabib's failed takedowns. A few ideas and strategies in there, but like I said, good luck to whoever has the task of trying to pull it off. It's going to be a lot easier said than done. If you liked the video, please like, share, or comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Check out my other Khabib videos, and peace.